You probably know the lockdowns, forced masking, and vaccine mandates, along with a lot of other craziness, caused immense damage to people's lives. It's something we lived with for years. People like me who stood up early when it mattered the most and when the risk was the greatest took the brunt of the backlash from tyrannical government administrators, the media, and the woke mob. I was arrested twice simply for speaking out on others' behalf. The first arrest was dismissed, but the second, where I spoke on behalf of a school father and his child who had been forced to dig a dirty face mask out of the trash, resulted in a kangaroo court conviction. For the terrible crime of speaking out, I was indicted on 4 misdemeanors and offered no plea deal. 2 other fathers who participated exactly as I did were let go with small fines. Now, why is that? It's because I have a platform and I've chosen to be outspoken against bullies. They sentenced me to 100 days in jail and almost $10,000 in fines. Now, I think that was a big mistake. And I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to fight back for all of us. Listen as Conservative Daily hosts Joe Oltman, David Clements, and Apollo discuss the lawfare against my family and other patriots who stood up to the system. This is lawfare. This is using one of our most sacred institutions to persecute people, from a former sitting president down to just a nobody like me. We've got to stand together on this.
Kelly, you're dealing with stuff that's kind of like the hangover from 2020, 2021, 2022. We're walking into this kind of new area. Dave, we know all this stuff is happening, right? I mean, we know it's happening. We know the CRT is happening. We know that they're still trying to do mask mandates at the White House. It's crazy what they're doing. Emergency's over, but we're going to still do it. I think it has a lot to do with dementia by Joe Biden. But how do we work the problem, I think, is the biggest thing. How do we actually work the problem?
Okay, so a couple things.
That was a good setup.
What was wrong with what we saw with Kelly standing in the gap? Because he was. There wasn't anything wrong with Kelly. He was alone. There wasn't hundreds of people standing right there, shoulder to shoulder. The follow-up, we have to have networks in place, and we have to understand that these cowards will show up in the shadows. When I travel and we talk about how our voices have been stolen, and it's, I focus on elections. Kelly was standing up for COVID tyranny, but it's the same thing. The problem is if you got the same 2 or 3 tired patriots doing all of the work, the people that you're standing in front of, they're not going to have the requisite amount of fear to bend to the will of the people. And when you're dealing with people that are ideologically possessed, like the supervisors that Kelly was before, rational discussion doesn't work. Facts don't work. They'll look at you with dog ears, like what facts are coming out of his mouth, and that they're possessed by something. There's a spirit that's working through them, and that spirit's usually a lust for power, a lust for control. And the only thing that's going to work is going to be one of 2 things. There's going to have to be some spiritual revelation, like a Charles Dickens moments where these guys go home and they realize, oh my God, I'm a terrible human being. Look what I've done to the walkers. Look what I've done to these other fathers. And there's a level of repentance. Unfortunately, we don't see that across the country. So the only other thing that will work is fear. As in, they show up and they're sitting there going, okay, I'm about to lose my gig because I've got 1,000 angry parents that are shouting me down, that are shouting down the sheriffs, and we're powerless. They're forced to recess. They're forced to go out the back doors. And we've seen that across the country when we've been effective.
Yep. We've appealed these ridiculous lawfare charges, but we do need help. I need help raising legal fees, but not just for me and my family. I've been talking with a number of members of Congress about investigating the targeting of school parents by the DOJ, the FBI, and court prosecutors. There's already an interim staff report by the Committee on the Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government on this targeting of school parents. So I'll be going to Capitol Hill to urge the House Committee on the Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government to investigate and also grant amnesty to targeted parents. So I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for you, but I can't do this if I'm in jail. And I can't do this if our family finances are in jeopardy. So your help for my case and my travels will allow me to help many families targeted for the so-called crime of standing up for their children. Maybe your family, maybe someone you know. Whatever you're able to do will be much appreciated. Now look, I'm a Papa Bear. I'm fighting for my family, and I'm fighting for yours against people who think parents don't matter. I'm going to take them to school, and I need your help. Please also follow my website, watch my podcast, or read my articles at realfreedomtalk.com. Thanks so much. Please share this Give, Send, Go account and help me make a real change for all of us. God bless America, and God bless our freedom as parents.
Here are some of the thoughts that I had as a prosecutor. One, because it's a criminal trespass charge, it's a misdemeanor, and you usually won't have in a magistrate setting a court of record. So it's a kangaroo court, last man standing, and it's probably why they got away with murder in Kelly's trial. A prosecutor would never ever call the accused a criminal during a trial proceeding because it violates the presumption of innocence. That's automatic grounds for a mistrial. But because this was off the record, because this is a lower magistrate level, there's no record there for appeal. So you've got an automatic right to an appeal to go to the district court, which is obviously time consuming. I don't expect this case to go anywhere if we can get this before a district court where it's on the record. A judge would have chastised the prosecutor if they knew the rules of evidence. I've seen mistrials declared for much less than that, but you would never, ever call someone, even if you believe in good faith that they were a criminal. If I, during jury selection, called someone that was accused of murder a criminal, right then and there, you could count on defense counsel saying, can we approach and say, Judge, you just violated the presumption of innocence. You should know better. We're going to declare a mistrial. And chances are the judge would grant it and set it for a new trial because of legal error, because I would have already tampered with or poisoned the jury pool. These things have to be taken very, very seriously. So it's clear you've got a level of weaponization that's going on against Kelly, disparate treatment between he and the other defendants. But right off the bat, when he told me that, I'm sitting there going, that would just never fly in a court of record.